What does a man do when he finally releases something he has been carrying for months? He doesn't scream. He doesn't pump his fist wildly. He doesn't point to the crowd. He stops. He closes his eyes. He brings his hands together, slowly, deliberately, as if he is in the middle of a prayer. That is exactly what Shohei Ohtani did the moment his bat connected and sent the ball soaring over the left field wall for his first home run of the 2025 season. While the entire stadium erupted, while 50,000 fans leapt to their feet, while commentators lost their voices, Ohtani stood still at home plate for just a fraction of a second and did something nobody expected. He prayed. Or at least, that is what it looked like. And in that single moment, the internet broke. Clips spread within minutes. Fans across Japan, America, South Korea, and beyond were not just talking about the home run. They were asking one question above everything else. What does the prayer pose mean? Today, we are going to answer that question completely. But to truly understand what that gesture means, you cannot just look at the moment itself. You have to look at everything that came before it, the months of waiting, the weight of expectation, and the quiet fire that has been burning inside Shohei Ohtani since the very first day of spring training. Because this home run was not just a home run. This was a statement. When the 2025 season began, every eye in baseball was locked on one man. Coming off a historic 2024 season where he became the first player in MLB history to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in the same season, the pressure on Ohtani entering 2025 was unlike anything any player in modern baseball had ever faced. He was no longer just a player people were curious about. He was now the undisputed face of the sport. The standard had been set, by himself, and the entire baseball world was watching to see if he could meet it again. Spring training came and went. The regular season opened. And for a stretch of games that felt far longer than it actually was, the home run did not come. This is important to understand. For most players, a slow start to home run production is simply part of the season. Nobody talks about it. Nobody tracks it. Nobody writes articles about it. But Ohtani is not most players. Every at-bat became a discussion. Every deep fly ball that died at the warning track was dissected by analysts. Every strikeout was treated as a potential sign of something wrong. Social media was impatient. The questions started quietly, then grew louder. Is he saving himself? Is something off with his swing? Is the pressure of 2024 getting to him? Ohtani said nothing. He never does. He simply went to the ballpark, followed his routine, ate his meals, did his preparation, and trusted the process he has spent his entire life building. While the noise grew louder outside, the man at the center of it all remained completely, almost unsettlingly, calm. That calm is not an accident. That calm is the product of years of a discipline most people cannot imagine. While fans and analysts were growing restless, people inside the Dodgers organization were not worried at all. The reason is simple. They watch Ohtani every single day. They see what the cameras never show. His preparation before games is extraordinary in its precision. Before a single pitch has been thrown, Ohtani has already reviewed the tendencies of the opposing pitcher in detail, which pitches they favor in certain counts, where they prefer to locate the ball against left-handed batters, how their velocity changes as they move deeper into games. He does not consume this information casually. He processes it, internalizes it, and builds a mental game plan that he then executes during the at-bat. His physical preparation is equally meticulous. His body is not treated like a vehicle that simply needs fuel. It is treated like a precision instrument that requires specific maintenance at specific times. His diet, his sleep, his movement routines, all of it is structured with a level of detail that goes beyond what most professional athletes consider standard. The people around him were not worried about the home run drought because they understood something the outside world did not. Ohtani was not struggling. He was loading. There is a concept in hitting that the best coaches understand well: sometimes the most dangerous hitters go through a quiet period not because something is wrong, but because everything is aligning. The timing is sharpening. The read on the pitch is deepening. The trigger is being refined. When that loading period ends, the results are not gradual. They are explosive. When the moment finally arrived, it did not come with any dramatic build-up. There was no speech. No special occasion. No milestone anniversary or nationally televised special event. It was simply a regular season game, a pitcher working carefully against the most dangerous hitter in baseball, and Ohtani standing in the left-handed batter's box with that completely still, focused expression he always wears. The pitcher worked him carefully. The count built. The tension in the stadium climbed with every pitch because everyone, the fans, the fielders, the pitcher himself, understood that one mistake would be punished. And then the mistake came. The ball was left just slightly over the inner half. In the fraction of a second it takes for a professional hitter to decide and commit, Ohtani triggered his swing. His hips rotated with that powerful, explosive movement that scouts have spent years trying to teach other players. The bat path was direct and devastating. The contact was immediate and total. The sound that came off that bat was different from a regular hit. Everyone inside that stadium heard it. Players in both dugouts turned their heads. The center fielder, who had been moving on instinct, stopped almost immediately, because there are certain balls you know from the sound alone that no amount of running will matter. The ball left the park with authority. Not a cheap home run that just clears the fence. A deep, powerful drive that served as a reminder of exactly who Shohei Ohtani is. And then, the pose. As Ohtani stood at home plate and brought his hands together in that quiet, still gesture, the stadium was exploding around him. But he was somewhere else entirely for that brief moment. So what does it mean? People who have followed Ohtani closely for years were not entirely surprised. This gesture, this bringing together of the hands in a brief, almost meditative pose, has appeared at key moments throughout his career. It is not a religious statement directed outward. It is something deeply personal and inward. Those close to Ohtani describe it as a moment of gratitude. Not performed gratitude meant for cameras or fans. Real gratitude, the kind that rises naturally in a person who genuinely understands how much work, how much sacrifice, and how many people's contributions stand behind a single moment of success. Think about what that home run represented. Months of preparation. Years of refining his swing. A lifetime of discipline around food, sleep, training, and mental focus that began when he was a teenager at Hanamaki Higashi High School, setting personal rice bowl quotas and eating packed lunches before practice. Every one of those thousands of quiet, unseen choices built toward that single swing. When Ohtani brings his hands together, he is not celebrating himself. He is acknowledging everything and everyone that made the moment possible. His family. His coaches. His teammates. The people who believed in him before the results existed to justify the belief. That pose is a private conversation happening in public, a man quietly saying thank you in the middle of 50,000 people screaming his name. That is what makes it so powerful. That is why it spread across the internet within minutes. People felt something watching it, even if they could not immediately explain what they were feeling. They were watching a person of genuine character have a genuine moment. And in a world full of performed emotion and rehearsed celebrations, that kind of authenticity is impossible to look away from. The reaction to this home run, and specifically to that pose, tells us something important about why Ohtani has become something far larger than a baseball player. Athletes achieve incredible things regularly. Records are broken. Historic performances happen every season. But very few athletes capture the imagination of people who do not even follow the sport. Very few athletes become symbols that carry meaning beyond the game they play. Ohtani has become that kind of figure. And it is not because of the numbers, as extraordinary as the numbers are. It is because of the person behind the numbers. It is because of the consistency between who he appears to be in public and who those closest to him describe in private. It is because of the prayer pose at home plate, a small, quiet gesture that communicates an enormous amount about the values of the man making it. In a sport where home run celebrations have become increasingly theatrical, where players choreograph poses and perform rehearsed routines, Ohtani's response to his first home run of 2025 was to pause, go inward, and express something genuine. The baseball world noticed. The world beyond baseball noticed too. With that first home run behind him, the real conversation about Ohtani's 2025 season can now begin properly. The question is no longer whether he will produce. The question is what kind of production we are going to witness, and whether the 2025 version of Shohei Ohtani is going to push beyond even what he showed the world in 2024. The people inside the game who watch him daily believe the answer is yes. They point not to the home run itself but to everything surrounding it, the preparation, the patience, the refusal to chase or force results during the quiet period, the complete trust in his own process even when external pressure was building. Those are not the qualities of a player who has peaked. Those are the qualities of a player who is still growing. And perhaps that is the most remarkable thing about Ohtani. He has already done things no player has ever done. He holds records that seemed unreachable before he reached them. And yet everyone who knows him closely will tell you the same thing: he does not carry himself like a man who believes he has figured it out. He carries himself like a man who is still learning. The prayer pose lasted perhaps 2 seconds. Then Ohtani began his home run trot, calm as always, acknowledging the crowd with his usual quiet composure, returning to the dugout to be greeted by his teammates. The moment passed. The game continued. But the image stayed. Because what that pose communicated, gratitude, humility, and the deep awareness of everything that stands behind a single moment of greatness, is something we do not see often enough in sports or in life. Ohtani's first home run of 2025 will be remembered for the distance, for the timing, for the statement it made about what this season might become. But those who were watching closely will remember it for something smaller and far more meaningful. A man at the peak of his power, choosing the most public possible moment to quietly say thank you. That is who Shohei Ohtani is. And that is why the whole world is watching.